we don't have to say, well, it's always been that way. Well, I came from a negative house. I came from this situation. It's just, that's how we are. We can actually create a new normal for us.
Back in the day, brides used to come into a marriage with something called a dowry. Depending on the culture, it was money or land or cows. I brought nothing.
Neither did I.
Together we had $300 between us. But both of us had what we call a relational dowry. That's the life experiences, the habits, the values, the attitudes we each brought with us. And much of that relational dowry has been inherited from our families of origin.
Now, obviously, we can't change the families we grow up in, but we can work to understand those inherited attitudes and patterns of behavior that are still shaping our marriage. Like maybe we say, you know, my parents did it like this, so that's the way we're going to do it. Or maybe you say, that's the way my parents did it, we're never going to do it that way. In either case, we're still being influenced, aren't we, by our family of origin. One of the most surprising things we've discovered in almost 20 years of full-time marriage ministry is how oblivious a lot of us are to this reality. Now, we've actually developed a whole 1-hour session focusing on this, and we baked it into our weekend getaway because it's such an important topic and a big blind spot for a lot of us. We can think that our issues are really just about the two of us, when in fact they're rooted much, much earlier in our relational dowries.
For example, in my family growing up, we didn't do conflict. I don't remember ever seeing my parents fight, ever. And if my siblings and I ever had conflict, we were told to go to our room, and when we calmed down, we could come back out, which made for a beautiful, peaceful home. But Neil and I get married, and about 5 minutes in, we have our first fight, and I had no clue what to do except to go to my room, which awkwardly enough was now our room. We have figured it out. We've figured out how to do conflict, and we've actually gotten really quite good at it. But that was some of our relational dowry.
Again, we can't change our families. One writer said it this way: you're born into your family, and your family's born into you. No returns, no exchanges. That's good. But we can be aware of what our families have passed on to us. And some of it's wonderful, and we should be grateful. Some of our relational dowries may be painful and even toxic, and we will need some healing and likely some help in order to move towards health. But it all starts with becoming aware that we have a relational dowry.
In my family, when you were resolving conflict, the temperature got high sometimes, and it was okay. It was almost expected. And well, when I started to date Diane, I can sometimes, like, I'm generally a, kind of gentle guy, but when I start to talk, right, when you start to get in, I can sound like I'm on a football field, right? So that's, and I've really tried to work to tame that. Tone is so important. It's not always what you say, but how you say it.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. I know for me, growing up in my family, coming from a big family, but I did, like my dad, he was a drinker. And so I would see he and my mom, he would have too much to drink, they would get into an argument, and I would see those things, and I remember always saying to myself, I don't ever want that in my house. I don't ever want my husband and I to argue. I don't want to have, conflict. I don't want to marry anyone that drink. Like, this whole list of things that I didn't want to take into my marriage. And so one of the things that when Mike and I got together, I said to him, I don't like arguing. I don't like conflict. I'm not good with those things, right? And so we've always made it a point to try our best not to get in these, big, heated, ugly confrontations, because first of all, it gets you nowhere.
True,
right? Just use your words. Use your words, and there's a gentle way to use your words. If you do that, things are so much better.
Yeah.
Right? If you can learn to do those things and do them properly.
Yeah. The whole idea of the relational dowry is basically, it's a fancy way to say baggage, our baggage that we carry, and sometimes we think that we have to carry it forever. But I've been actually reading a lot of brain science books lately, and in that I've been kind of learning the science of the brain and how it can actually change. We can actually be our own little microsurgeons and change the way we thought, which means, we're in the captain's seat, we decide. So in our marriage, we don't have to say, well, it's always been that way. Well, I came from a negative house. I came from this situation. It's just, that's how we are. We can actually create a new normal for us, a Dan and Danielle version, a Mike and Diane, an Ann and Ron version of taking the good from our past and maybe editing some of the things that weren't so good and weren't serving us well, and then create the new normal. We don't have to be stuck in the past. We can change our future.
Right. Even if you came from a dysfunctional past in some way, that you get to set the tone for moving forward for what your family. Let's say we've always been. You're talking about we're not being victims. We're not claiming that we're victims. Our frames of reference and our family of origin are very different. We've mentioned that, like the first season. I remember mentioning that, But I mean, there's a beauty in marrying somebody who's different than you. God gives us somebody who's very different than us. Danielle and I are very different from each other in some ways. Like there's a lot of what you might say is incompatibility, but it's not about incompatibility. It's how you make yourselves compatible in the middle of that. And God gives us someone very different than ourselves, which gives us a chance to become more like Christ, because we have to coexist and live and learn to be less selfish. Because marriage is an exercise in learning to be less selfish. And some people think, a marriage is supposed to, make me happy, and this person is supposed to, like all the things I like. We're going to be soulmates and everything. Well, marriage isn't about first and foremost about being happy. Hopefully, it's going to make you happy. But marriage, first and foremost, is about being made to be more like Christ. And your marriage is supposed to kill you. It's supposed to kill you. It's supposed to kill the selfishness in you. And
sometimes it feels that way.
And working through those things makes us more like Christ. So yes, dowries, we're very different, but there's some beauty in that. Rather than butt heads, and rather than say, oh, I should go find somebody else. No, you work through that, and it makes you more like Christ.
So I guess the question would be, practically speaking, how do we do that? Like, we all realize that, yes, we bring in baggage, we bring in these dowries.
Can you change, or is it baked into the wedding cake, so to speak? Is it? Can the leopard change his spot? So sometimes people can use it as an excuse. I'm just that way. I can't change.
Yes, I've heard.
But you can make those incremental things and make sure.
Like Dan was saying, a wedding or a marriage is all about growing together. Yes. You're not going to be the same person you were the day you got married as you are 30 years down the road. You're growing together in the same direction. So give grace to each other. You're both learning how to do this us thing well, and it's going to take a minute to kind of get in a good rhythm. And so give each other grace. Live empathetically. Try to see it from your partner's point of view, and then remove emotion from it. So, if this is the way that we've always done it, my parents always did it this way, and if you're called out on it, and even it's not healthy, you might get defensive and say, but no, my parents always did it this way. Just remove the emotion out and say, okay, we want to live our marriage out in the best Christ-centered way possible so that we can grow together in a good way.
And give each other the right to be wrong.
Good.
Give each other the right
and
to
the
be
space
wrong.
and the
It's
freedom
okay.
and the safety.
That's right.
And I will say one important thing. When we are inside ourselves and in our marriage, we can often see an outside source can help you see what you want to change.
Bring some clarity.
Absolutely.
Okay, good discussion, guys.
Clarity here.
Thanks so much. Hey, friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here on our Better Us YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage even better.
Right. And you can see just a few options we think you might like here and here. So keep exploring.
Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way all the time.